Okay. Methinks we are live. And just make a few adjustments here. And wait for Facebook to pull a few people on, hopefully. Ah, okay. Hi, Hilda. Okay, great. I am live. I thought so. All right. We're going to have some fun today, I think. I'm getting all my little items out here and ready. All right. Okay, so I guess I will get started. Hey, Patty. Great. You caught me live for a change, huh? Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's one of those wubbers, the ring, not a bender, but the wave maker little thing. I did a demo on that in the fall. So hello, Dee Marie. Okay, great. We're getting some people on. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do Kumihimo. Some of you already know how to do it, but for those who do and need a refresher, this is probably a good opportunity to tune in and kind of brush up on the technique. Now, there are probably other ways to do this. It seems like everybody has their own way of doing things. This is just mine. I learned this quite some time back. And when I first heard about it and I saw the disc and all the numbers and all that stuff, I thought, oh man, I'm never going to be able to do that, to keep track of all that stuff. But honestly, you don't have to, at least not with this technique. So there's only a couple of numbers that you start off with, and then after that, you don't have to pay attention to the numbers at all, because you will be doing a repetition of moves throughout the whole bracelet. So, yes, Hilda, thank you. The hoop mandrel, or the hoop, whatever, hoop maker. It's the words thing again. You know, I have to think about stuff for a while. Hi, Dawn and Cindy. Okay. All right. So we've got some people watching, and I'm going to show you a few of the Kumihimo bracelets that I have made. I've made a lot of them in the past, but honestly, I hadn't done it for quite some time, probably 3 or 4 years at least. But it's something that once you've made several pieces, you pretty much don't forget. It's like riding a bicycle. So I know that's kind of a weird analogy for jewelry making, but it's pretty much the same way with chainmail too. In the patterns, it's pretty much once you learn that and you've done several of them to kind of get that memory muscle in place, it's like you really don't forget it. So, all right, I'm going to turn the camera down a bit, and I'm going to show you a few of ones that I've made. And the one I'm going to work on today is the one that that I advertised in the group, the multicolor. I just happen to like this color a lot, or this combination of colors a lot, and it's kind of springy and cheery, and I think we can all use some cheery jewelry right now. Cheery and springy. This one is in solid colors. This is a gunmetal color of seed bead. And this one has the tapered cones on here, which are nice to use. Sometimes they're a little bit tricky to find the right sizes in cones because you don't want them overly large to fit around the beads, and yet you need to have this strand of beads fit within the diameter of the cone. So that's a little bit tricky, but they can be found. I believe these are silver plate. I think when I first bought them, I thought they were sterling, but I've come to think that maybe they're plated. And you can still find some. And you can find, I just did for another person who needs to have sterling silver, I did find some on Etsy that she can pick up because she has to use sterling. But in the kits that I'm going to be making for you guys, if you want them, they will have silver plate and they will have a setup like this in here. But once you learn how to do this, and if you decide it's something that you like to do, then I've got some resources where you can find some things too. Okay, so I guess this is the same as, no, this is black Picasso beads, and these are Miyuki beads. I like to use the Japanese seed beads, either Miyuki or Toho. I've found that those are the most uniform of beads, and that's important. A lot of times when you buy tubes of seed beads from craft stores, they have irregular shapes, and they are doable, I guess, in this type of technique, but they don't nest properly when you have different sizes. So to really have a better look, a nice uniform smooth look, the Japanese seed beads are the way to go. Okay, and then this one, this was featured in a magazine. I don't know which magazine. This was a number of years ago as well. And this is the number 8s. These are all 8s, size 8 beads that I'm using. And so they're the 8s, and they're Magatama seed beads as well. And it just, you string them on differently to get this effect, this striped effect like that. So there's lots, I mean, it's not limited to this. There's lots of different effects that you can get. And in the back of my handout that I will have up later after the broadcast, I have a diagram of different potential combinations, of how you would line up your strings, to get the different stripes or the mixed look, the kind of confetti look. So that will be available later on. Okay, and about clasps, I tend to like magnetic clasps on certain projects, and I really like it on this. This one I put a magnetic clasp on. Some people don't like magnetic clasps, but and I can understand that if you have clasps that don't have a strong magnet. These that I use have a very strong magnet, and you're not going to lose this. It's not going to come apart. The only downside on this is sometimes when you're wearing this and you might have your car keys in your hand or whatever, it kind of pulls, the magnetic force kind of pulls the keys to your your magnet. Or if you're opening your car door or something, anything that's magnetic, you might have a little bit of an issue with that, but it's minor. But they're so easy to take to put on and take off that it picked up the one on the tray. Go away. Okay. So yeah, I mean, they just attach really nicely, easy to put on. But you can use a lobster claw if you prefer that. That's easy enough to use a lobster claw. And then there's these other little doohickeys. They're called a trailer hitch, or I don't know, ball and something or other. but I usually call them trailer hitch clasps because that's kind of what that looks like. All right, so those are some options. There's other ones you could use too. You could put a toggle clasp on there if you wanted. But yeah, Tammy, that's the thing. If you have a pacemaker, magnetic stuff is not good, okay, because it will mess it up. So that's a consideration, and that's why in the post, a couple posts back, when I said that I was going to offer some clasps or kits, I asked, which clasp you would prefer. So that way, if somebody can't wear them, they have a choice. Okay. So there are different things. Plus you can do these in size 11 beads. You can do them in size 6, but I don't really like the look of the 6. I think it's too chunky, but that's just to my taste. Okay. But you can do that. You can do them in 11. They are considerably skinnier. You can make beautiful necklaces with this, and I think a size 8 in a necklace is a real pretty size, but I've done them in size 11 as well, and they're very pretty. The thing with doing a necklace is the length of all the cord that you're going to need. It really requires a lot of cord, and it's based on how many inches you want your necklace to be. Excuse me. And right off the top of my head, I can't think of the measurements, but say if I'm going to use 36 inches for the bracelet that I'm making today for the bracelet. So you have to multiply, whatever a size 7, say a size 7 bracelet takes 36 inches of cord and 7 inches of beads. If you're doing a size 22, then you have to have the cord and the bead measurement accordingly. I hope that's not clear as mud, but okay, let's see. So when you're doing that, because you have such long amounts of cord, there are these bobbins that are sold. This is the smallest size, but I've used these for necklaces. It holds a lot of string in there, a lot of cord. But they do have them larger. They sell them larger as well. And you just wind all your cord in that, and then you just close them over, and then they hang from your disc. So as you're using up your length, you just unroll a little bit more and then close it back up. So that way it keeps everything from becoming a tangled mess, because it will get tangled. There's no doubt that will happen. So you would need 8 bobbins if you decide that you want to do a necklace. You really don't need them for a bracelet. The cord's not that long. All right, so I'm going to set these aside and proceed. I'm also using 3-inch head pins. You don't have to have 3-inch head pins. You can just use like a 3-inch piece of wire. And I would say a 22 gauge would be a good size of wire. And I have my seed beads. So I've got an assortment of seed beads. Now for this one that I'm doing today, I used 4 colors. And these are the Picasso 80 seed beads, and I have plenty of all the colors except this light blue, this turquoise. I am trying to obtain that. So if you order a kit, I am going to try very hard to get some more of this color seed bead, but I may be forced to substitute them with a darker blue. So if that's not a problem to you, or if you prefer the darker blue, just let me know. I've got several people that have already signed up with kits. I like to offer the kits in the colors that I've chosen for the demo, but if that's something that you can't live with and you want a solid color, I can send you a picture of what I have. I don't have a tremendous amount of choice, but you know, if you don't like the mixed colors, just let me know, okay? And I'll do the best that I can to get something that you would be happy with. The next thing you need is a big eye needle. This is maybe hard to show, but if you know what a big eye needle is, you know all about it. But if you don't, this needle is about, say, 2 inches long, and the entire thing is an eye, if you can see that. It's got a split down the middle, and you can open it up and you can insert your thread. You don't have to have one of these. If you get a kit, you're going to get one, but you don't have to have one of these, but I find that it makes threading your beads on a lot easier. So you would just put your cord in the big eye needle, and then you scoop up your beads, and I'll show you that in a minute too. But that's what you need, or you should have. Makes life easier. And then you need a 1 ounce fishing weight. Now, I painted this with nail polish years ago because, you know, I was thinking, I'm touching it, it's lead, you know, maybe that's not cool. And somebody suggested painting them with nail polish. So I did. But really, once you attach this to your disc, you're not touching it again. So that's totally up to you. But nail polish is always an option. But you need a 1 ounce fishing weight. And you need some bead caps. Let's see here. I'm going to turn it down here again. I've got some little bead caps here. I believe these are 8 millimeters in diameter. These are silver plate. They should hold up okay, unless you're wearing it nonstop, bathe in it and all that stuff, which I do not recommend you do with any of your jewelry. But there are some people that never take their stuff off. I don't get that, but, you know, to each his own. Okay, so, oh, it's stuck to my computer. Get over here. And then I would suggest, oh dear, hang on a second. This never fails. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I leave the ringer on just in case there's an emergency with my dad, but normally I don't like to leave that on. Okay, so the next thing I use is a super glue gel. Okay, and this one I have been buying. It's called Zap, but basically it's just super glue in gel form. Gel form is much easier to work with because it doesn't run all over the place. So you might want to consider getting some of that for projects. And then I use a product called Tough Cord. This is what I was shown to use with the Kumihimo, and I love it. I know that there's tons of other cords available, but this Tough Cord size 3 seems to be just like the perfect weight for this bracelet. So they come in lots of different sizes, starting from 1 up to, I believe, 8. I'm not sure, but 1 starts as the thinnest, I believe. There might be a 0, but I don't know that for a fact. But I have them in 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is the thicker of those 3, and it just seems to be a nice weight for this project. So that will also come in your kit. The kits are going to have enough stuff in there for 2 complete projects. So, you know, I just wanted to pass that by. If I can locate enough of these, I may put in the whole spool. I don't know. I just have to see how much I can get. So that's the bad thing with offering kits. I don't like to buy stuff ahead of time because you don't know how many people are going to want a kit, so I don't want to be stuck with a whole bunch of extra stuff. But on the other hand, you got to have enough stuff. So, you know, it's a little bit, I usually just wait to see how many people want them, and then I go from there and make any adjustments accordingly. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, for the Kumihimo, for a 7-inch bracelet, I'm cutting 36 inches of cord 4 times. So I need 4 strings. All right, so I just have a yardstick out here, and I'm going to cut off 4 of these, 1 yard length. Now, you know, if you need 8 inches, you could probably still get it with the 36 inches because you are going to have a little leftover string. But when I first learned it, they said 40 inches, and to me I was wasting a lot. So, you know, when it's hard to find stuff, sometimes you don't want to waste it. So, all right, so I'm just going to cut 1 string because I've already pre-strung all the others that I need. But I'm going to open up this big eye needle and stick that in. And then I'm going to put a little pile of seed beads here on my bead mat. Bead mats are great if you don't have one and you're working with beads, seed beads and stuff. They're wonderful to have. They're only like $1 or $2. So it's worth having. So at the one end, the opposite end of the needle, I am putting 1 stop bead at the bottom of this cord. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm just going to do a double knot, just because I want to make sure that that knot does not come apart while I'm working and then all my beads fall off. So normally I'll just pull on that a little bit with my pliers to make sure that I've knotted it well. And then I'm going to take my big eye needle and I'm going to start scooping up the beads with the needle, rather than put 1 bead on at a time. You can do that way too, but this is quicker. I just pile up my beads and scoop them on. And sometimes it works better than others. Guess it just depends on how the beads are laying in the pile. And just push them down. Oh, thank you, Deb. Usually I sneeze in 3s, but that one was just 2, fortunately. I got my 2nd COVID vaccine yesterday, and I'm doing well. I've got to say my arm is a little bit sore, more sore than the first time, but not enough to lay me up or anything like that. I'm just taking my Tylenol, and I feel good. So I'm hoping to stay that way. My husband got his too, and he's fine. He feels the same way I do, so that's great. All right. This is a little boring for you guys to be watching me do, but it's a necessary part of it. And then I'm going to measure in just a minute. If you put more than 7 inches, I'm just using 7 inches because that's what will fit me. But actually, you have to allow length for your clasp and everything too, which we'll talk about as we get further down. But let's see here. All right, I've got 7 inches right here of seed beads. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this big eye needle out or off, and then I'm going to take 1 more seed bead and make a stop bead at the other end, of this end of the cord as well. Okay. And tie that. So your stop beads are at the very ends of that length of cord, okay? It's not at the end of these beads, it's at the end of the cords. All right, so let me get these out of the way. Otherwise, I'll have beads flying all over the place. It's guaranteed. All right, so that's how you're going to prepare all 4 of your strands, okay, with one with each color if you're doing a multi-color, okay? All right, so I'm going to set this one aside because I've already done my others to save time, because you wouldn't want to watch me do all of that. Okay, so now to prepare the loom, refer this as a loom, okay, it is. But what I want to do is I want to divide these. Do I have the right angle here for you guys? Oh. Okay, I want to divide these in half because I want to send those other half down, if you can understand what I mean. So both ends of your cord are going to have the same amount of beads, or basically the same amount. You don't have to count them out. It's not that crucial, okay? So the other thing that I didn't mention in the supplies is to have a vase or some kind of container that you can set your work down on when you're not working, so that you avoid getting your strings tangled, because that will happen. It's just a given. Okay, so I am going to take my disc and just set it up here. And on the disc, you've got numbers. There's all these little slots and numbers. The only things that you have to pay attention to right now are the 4 dots, the 4 black dots. This is where you're going to line up your strings. You're going to put 1 string on either side of the black dots. So in the directions I wrote down, you know, dot number or space number 32 that has the dot is next to 31 and 1. So what I'm going to do is put my cord on one side. Can you see that okay? The one cord goes on the one side of this black dot. And then I want to make sure they're even, but I'll do that all the way at the end after I get all my strings. So 1 cord. So now your 1 cord becomes 2 cords, okay? And now I'm going to do the next color and divide this in half. So I have about the same amount of beads on both strings. And then I'm going to put that on the opposite side of that black dot. Okay, so and slide it in that little slot real well. All right, so I have 2 cords on either side of this black dot. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other black dots, with my other cords. So I'm going to divide this again. And put one on either side of this black dot. You guys getting the concept of what I'm doing right now? Okay, so then I want to kind of pull these so that the strings are hanging at about the same levels, so you don't run out of string on one color. it's just better to have them as even as possible. Okay, so that's that. All right, so now I'm going to set this on here, and I need to get my fishing weight. So this particular fishing weight didn't have a hook on it, so I just wire wrapped a piece of wire on here to keep it to provide a loop. Okay, and now I'm going to take one of my head pins, and I'm just going to form a simple hook, nothing fancy. Just turn over like a little hook on one end, and then a hook on the other end. So it's like a real elongated S. Okay. All right. So with one of the hooks, I am going to pick up my weight and attach my weight to the one for the bottom, and then I'm going to take this other hook and I'm going to insert it. Let me see here. Find my little awl here for a pointer. I'm going to insert it right here, and I want to catch all of these cords within. See, will that show? I want to catch all these cords. I'm just doing this to show you, but so that way they're all brought together. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in from underneath, and I'm going in one of the corners, and I'm going to, maybe it's easier without the weight on it first, and then I'm going to grab all of these cords. Can you see that okay? Okay. All right. Now, the easiest way to hold on to this disc while you're doing the technique is to sit on the end of a chair and have this work kind of go down in between your legs or your thighs. Okay, that's the easiest way to maneuver because of the length of the cords. Working on a tabletop is a little bit more difficult. But right now, you've got all 4 cords grabbed. You might want to bend in that hook just a little bit to keep it on the cords. I just kind of pressed it in a little bit with my fingers. Okay. Okay, so then I'm going to face the disc towards me with the dot 16 and 32 in front of me. This is just how I do it, okay? And the movement, now I wrote on top of my disc, and I would suggest that you do the same. Let's see, Marie, you've got a question. With all 8 cords, this is the 4 cords that I strung my beads on, but because I divided them in half, now they become 8, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do, what I did on my disc is I wrote the method of how I do this. I move my string that's close to me, I call this my bottom left, and the other string next to it I call the bottom right. Okay, and on the top I call this the top left and the top right. And then you're going to turn your disc a quarter turn after each move. So I drew an arrow in the direction that I want to turn my disc so that I don't get confused, because you always have to turn your disc in the same direction after each move. If you turn it this way one move and then turn it this way, you're going to get it all screwed up. So I just kind of made arrows all the way around so that I know that I'm always going in that circular motion. So on my disc I wrote bottom left to top left, and top right to bottom right. And that way, that's right in your face. You're going to see that all the time. The other thing, it's like, and then a quarter turn. So that's the movement. Bottom left to top right to bottom right, quarter turn. And all the time, you're going to keep doing that. You could turn either way, Dawn, but you have to stay whichever way you choose, whatever easier for you. I'm actually going counterclockwise, but you could do whatever you want. Okay, so this I'm going to do a couple of times all the way around. I'm going to do that movement just with no beads. Okay, I'm making the little stem of the cord of the bracelet with no beads. That's what's going to attach to this head pin. I'm going to be using this head pin that's hooked on here as part of my finished product. Okay, so that head pin turns into the thing that your bead cap is going to go on. Okay, and then we're going to add the other one at the end when we've reached our length. Okay, if for some reason you start your progression and you have to leave your work, say the phone rings or somebody comes to the door, and you want to make sure that when you start up again, you begin where you left off. And that can be very hard to do if you don't do this. When you decide that you have to leave, you put your string up to the left, on the left, so you have 3 strings on top, and then you can leave. And then when you come back, you've got your 3 strings on top, so the next move that you have to make is upper right to lower right and turn. Okay, I hope that you get that, because that is really, really important. Because I guarantee you, if you just have your 2 strings on each quarter and you put your mat down, or your disc down, you're gonna not know where to begin. Okay, yeah, you could call that a chicken foot. It kind of looks like that, with the 3 toes like that. So okay, so that is very important. Even if your house is on fire, you put that 3rd cord up on the top, and then you set your piece down, and then you leave. So it's just that it's important. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the movement. Can you guys see me close enough? Let me see if I can bring it in just a little bit closer, and you let me know if that works for you or not, if it doesn't work. Okay. All right, so to start off, I am moving this bottom left to me string up to the upper right. So now I have 3 cords up here, and now my next move is to take the far right, top right to lower right, quarter turn, top left or bottom left to top left, top right to bottom right, quarter turn, bottom left to top left, top right to lower right, quarter turn, bottom left to upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn, lower left to upper left. And now I'm going to stop to tell you, I've already got some little weaving here. That's enough for my nub. If you go too far and get that nub of cord without beads too long, you're not going to be able to stuff it up underneath your bead cap. So resist the temptation of making this longer, because it serves no good purpose. Did I do that when I had the fire? I was not doing Kumihimo at that moment in my life, but honestly, I don't know if I'd, I'd have thought about that because I didn't even think to bring my purse, which is ridiculous, so it's like, get out of the house. So I would probably fail if I was working on Kumihimo and my house was on fire. So, and that's another thing when I teach this as a class, I tell everybody to please not talk, to concentrate on what you're doing. And I know that's difficult because it's a social event when you're making things with other people. But that's really where you're going to screw up, is if you're distracted and you haven't maybe gotten the in the groove of doing this, but it really is important to just pay attention to what you're doing on this. You will be happy that you did, because if you do this and you have beads missing, I can pretty much guess you'll be unhappy, because you can't fix that once you've missed a bead. If you didn't realize that right away, it's very difficult to back up and undo what you did. Now, some people, I have had people that have learned how to do this and they can back up and do everything in the right place, but I'm not that person. I cannot do that for the life of me. I'll end up just ripping it all apart. So, really check your work often. Make sure that it's going all the way around like it's supposed to be going, and then you will be happy with that. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to start introducing the beads. Okay. That was just the little base that I was doing. Now I start the beads at the top where I've got the chicken foot. I'm going to call it a chicken foot too, Marie. Okay. So I'm going to pull up one bead and take this string out of the slot, and I'm going to let that bead fall down, and it naturally falls down under this string right here, the string next to it. Okay, so I'm going to still do my top right to lower right, but the bead gets caught under this thread that's next to it, adjacent to it. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to bring the lower left and get my bead, let that go down, and let it go. Why didn't that work? Uh-oh, technical difficulties already. Maybe. Sorry, having a little brain fart here. Okay. That is correct. All right. All right, so I'm going to take my second bead, and I guess I've got my cord crooked. It shouldn't be. And bring that up. Oh, I know why that didn't work. Because I didn't do my quarter turn. Duh. No, that's not right. Oh, this is an embarrassing moment. Okay, no, that's what I was supposed to do. Because I started. Okay. This is correct. I didn't make my quarter turn. Okay, so I'm going to forget all of that. That's what I forgot. I figured it out, Jennifer. Thank you, though. Okay, because I'm talking. What did I do? Well, I guess you guys, you know, I guess I am embarrassed, but I shouldn't be, because that's how we learn, right? We all learn through other people's mistakes. Maybe I'm supposed to do that from the bottom. All right. The other thing is, make sure that you keep your strings taut, so that way that the strings at the are in the center of the hole. I'm going to just take this all down for a second and restart this. Sorry. But I want to make sure that I've got this right before I go any further. Now I've confused myself, which isn't hard to do to begin with. Great demo, Sue. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I'm talking, and although I should have had this figured out, you know what I'll do? I think okay. Well, I'm going to do this again. All right, so I'm going to pull my bead up. It pops up down under there. Do my quarter turn, and now we're good to go. I don't know. I think I was overthinking it. Okay. So now this bead pops up under this, pops under that cord and up here. Quarter turn. Okay, I'm in sync now. I hate when that happens. Okay, so I'm just moving this, still doing the bottom left to top left, top right to bottom right, and these beads are nesting under the adjacent cords. It seems kind of tedious when you think about it, that you're adding just one bead at a time, that maybe it'll take like forever, but it really doesn't. You can basically get this done in about an hour's time. Although, like I've said before, it's not a contest or something to brag about, say, oh, I did it in an hour. It's fine if you did it and you did it well, but if you did it and you've got boo-boos, you know, that's no good. All right, so I'm just moving along, adding my bead, making sure it's tucked under the adjacent string, and keep going with my same progression. And in a minute, I will show you what's coming out the other end. And from time to time, you'll need to get your strings back in the center position in the hole of the disc. They make lots of different discs for the Kumihimo. Since I bought mine, they even have center handles, but honestly, I don't know how that would work when you're sending the beads down the center. I don't know how that handle would work, unless that's for like just cord beading. Not really sure. Make sure that you only have one bead go down that string. Sometimes it's easy to get a couple of them, but that doesn't work. So you just lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Popping that bead underneath there. Quarter turn. And sometimes your strings will get tangled. They seem to get a little more tangled as you are moving along, but you can shake them loose sometimes. I don't want to show you that until I put my third string up here. You know, sometimes they get tangled up and I'll just kind of shake them like this and they'll kind of untangle. That's easy enough. Okay. So the good thing about doing these demos and having them recorded is that you can stop it, you can rewind it, replay it, whatever, and kind of work along with me. Now, I would really like to get this whole thing done while we're on here, but that might be extremely boring for many of you. So I won't take offense if you don't stick with me the whole time and then, you know, tune back in later to see how I finished it off. But for me, I have to stick with the whole project to get it to completion. So I will understand. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, and I'll look up from here in a minute and see if there's any questions I can answer for you. But yeah, you know, I have made these where I've skipped a bead, and I was so upset, and I tried so hard to resurrect it, you know, to correct that problem, to sew one in, to glue one in, and they all looked like crap. So the only way that I was going to be happy with it was to just redo it. So that's why I say, you know, just take the time and watch what you're doing so that you don't miss any beads. But yeah, it does go pretty fast. And there's two of them that want to go down there. Get back here. All right, let's see here. Tammy, can you please show the center? I don't understand where the beads sit when you put them in the center. Okay, I can show you this way. I don't know if it's going to be too close. Let me see if I can show you with a bead. All right, so I'm bringing the bead, and this bead is going under this string right here at this junction right here. Okay, so it's going under that cord. Can you see that, Tammy? And then I'm pulling this cord over here. Now, if you just bear with me a second, I have to leave my daughter a message, because if I, for some reason, kick us out, which I'm hoping I don't, but if I do, well, if she doesn't call me back again, because she's been known to call and call and call until I pick up, and then she says, "Why are you ignoring me?" And it's like, I'm not purposely ignoring you. Tammy, did that help? going down under there. Quarter turn. And you see I'm going off center a little bit, so I'm just gonna just pull my cords just a little bit because they kind of loosen up. I want to keep that in the center. But notice I did that with my 3 strings up on top. Yeah, it naturally goes where it belongs. If you're making sure that it is actually in the place before you fold your string over, it should go where it's supposed to. Here we go again. All right, hang on. Hang on just a second. I hope I didn't lose any. Did I lose you guys? Okay. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Okay. Sorry, you guys are seeing me? Okay, good, good. I'm sorry. She gets very insistent and thinks that I'm purposely ignoring her. She's 32 going on 14, so okay. All right. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to come out the bottom here. And they do get caught, and sometimes the strings get caught on your pin that's holding your fishing weight, so you just have to shake them down a little bit. All right, I think that I screwed up because I did not put that. Oh, criminally. Take this back off. All right, I did not follow my rule when I was just moving that, so let me see if I didn't get too far gone. Because sometimes you can look at it and you can see where the next move is supposed to be. Okay. Okay. So Hilda, you do it with the bobbins even for the short thread? I mean, that's totally doable. It's totally doable. I just don't. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. But for the necklaces, oh my gosh, you definitely need to have the bobbins. All right. I feel like I should be talking more to tell you more about this, but I don't know what else I could add. There are lots of books on the market that are available for Kumihimo if you really get into it and you want to do lots of different patterns. You know, I've used a couple of them, but you know, this is something I just do occasionally. I don't do it all the time. When I first learned it, I was like really obsessed with it, and I really enjoyed it, and you know, made quite a few bracelets. And but after a while, you know, you find other things, and your attentions get divided to other things. But there are all kinds of techniques and different things that you can do with Kumihimo. You can even make, if you didn't want to use beads, you know, you could use cords and stuff and make necklaces, you know, for your pendants or whatever, if you wanted to do that. Okay, keep going here. There was something else I was going to add, and now that moment is very fleeting. It went away just as fast as I thought about it. But that's pretty par for the course. But yeah, you know, if you use different cords, I'm not saying that you have to use tough cord, but I have used other cords when I was out of tough cord and couldn't get it easily. And the weight of the cord, it really varies. And with the tough cord, this might be more close to, I don't know if it's Superlon, or there's some new cords or Ceylon that have come out since I started doing this. So there's other cords that might be suitable, but when I have used thinner cords, then the overall feel of it is very floppy, where this is very, it's not stiff, but it's got a really nice feel to it. So that's what happens when you use different cords that maybe aren't really appropriate for this technique. But I find something, I usually, if I find something that I like, I usually don't mess with it and go any further trying to find something else. Oh, I was going to say, I have done this on an airplane several times. It was very easy to do on the airplane and kind of broke up the monotony. And of course, the people that are sitting around you want to know what the heck you're doing and are fascinated by it. But it's something that, you know, if you're keeping to yourself anyway and you want something to do with your hands, other than reading a book or something. Of course, that's not really doing anything with your hands. But for me, I've got to have something in my hands. And we've said that before, you know, with food and everything. So it's better if I have beads in my hand than food. So, well, I still manage to do quite a bit of that. The other thing, too, is tough cord comes in many different colors. And generally it doesn't make one bit of difference what cord you use when you're using opaque beads because it gets covered up. But if you're using some of the color-lined beads or more clear, you might want to get the cord that matches best with the beads you're using. So that's also another thought. Let me check here. Oh, good, Hilda. Good. That's a good idea, Marie, to do a plane. Oh, okay. I'll have to see. That would be a valuable thing to do, to have a chart like that, Marie. That would be good. All right, let's see here. I've got to center my strings a little bit again. I'm going to do that after. I'm pretty sure I missed that bead where I messed up. I'm pretty sure I've got one missing. Yep, you can see it. This is what I've got so far, but you can see where I skipped that bead. But I'm going to finish this one to the end anyway, just to show you how to finish it off. And I've got more bead caps and stuff on order, so I'm thinking I will probably get all the stuff ordered tomorrow, and it probably will take a week to get in, and then as soon as I have everybody's stuff, then I'll make the kits, and then well, as soon as I know that I'm getting everything, then I'll contact you, and you can purchase your kit, and then as soon as I get everything in, then I'll send it to you. Because I know a lot of times when you see something done, you want to do it, and you want to do it right now. At least that's how I am. So, oh, Deborah, that's good to know. Hey, Sonny. Okay. All right. Well, see, that second bead snuck down there, and I almost missed seeing that. Okay. But honestly, you know, don't be disappointed if you make a mistake or two on the first couple ones that you make. It seems like pretty much everybody does that. And the people that don't, oh, my weight fell off. The people that make theirs perfectly the first time around, well, we can hate them for just a little while until we get better. Oh, thank you for the link. I appreciate it. This was the only green shirt that I own, and I thought I should have something green on for St. Patrick's Day. But this is a ratty old shirt that I've had forever, and it's all I had, so in green. Yeah, keep, if you guys have questions and products that you want to share or whatever, please let us all know. Because just because I do something some way, it's not necessarily how it has to be for all the things. But actually, it's quite relaxing. I find this to be very zen, very, very relaxing to do this, except for when you're on camera. And knowing that you could screw up at any time for the whole world to see. Well, actually, it's not the whole world, but it's on for who knows how long that people could have access to. But I love these colors. I like them a lot. I think they're very cheerful and summery or springy, whatever. But this can be also very elegant in a solid color. And if you get a standard size tube of beads, which is generally around 22 grams, you can definitely make two bracelets out of that amount. So that's kind of nice. You know, once you get your findings and stuff, I mean, this is not an expensive project to keep making. It just requires time. And I keep losing my magnet. I should tighten that a little bit. The magnet helps the tension of the bracelet, so it does matter the size of the weight too. Oh, thank you, Hilda. I love all you guys too. I really do. You're my link to sanity in my insane world. It's good to have things to do and to focus on. And I am so happy to have gotten my second shot yesterday, because in a couple of weeks, I'm intending to have a couple of my friends come over that have been fully vaccinated and have also, I guess they're recommending at least 2 weeks after your shot to still continue on what you're doing now, but you can gather with other people, but you should still wear your masks. And I'm okay with that. I can still wear my masks as long as I can be with my buds. I miss that so much. And to me, it's always fun. Making stuff is always fun when you're with other people rather than being alone. Sometimes alone time is good, and I need it. I enjoy alone time pretty much, but I do have to have time with my friends too. This darn magnet. I must be knocking it off somehow. Well, that's very nice of you, Hilda, but no, I don't need to have any tip money sent. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm not making my livelihood doing this, so I'm good. I'm good with it. But that's mighty sweet. I do feel bad for people that they're trying for this to be, jewelry making to be their income and stuff. Of course, I love to sell my stuff, just like anybody would, but whether I sell or not sell, we're still going to have food on the table. So that support those that who actually need the support. You guys can just support me by being around and making me smile and laugh. That's payment enough. All right, it's growing. It's coming along. You see, it doesn't really take all that long. You should just get into the groove. And you know, because I screwed up with that one bead, I probably don't need to take this all the way to the length because I'm not going to keep it anyway. Because that would make me unhappy to see that spot that was missing. So I think what I'll do is, let's see here, I'll end this here as far as adding the seed beads, and I'll move on to show you the next finishing steps. Otherwise, we'll be here till 8 o'clock. Well, no, not really, but longer than you need to be just to watch me string beads. Okay, so when we're ready, when we've reached the length that we want, you know, what I would normally do is, first of all, you have to determine, and you should do this at the beginning, you should determine how long of a section of beads you need, and also how long your caps and your findings are going to be, because that's going to add length to your bracelet. So say if you wore a size 7 bracelet, you don't want 7 inches of beads all done like this, because by the time you add your cones, you're going to have maybe another 3/4 to of an inch to an inch. Okay, so you want to factor that in. So what I'll do, say I want 6 inches of beads because I have cones that are going to take up about an inch space, so I need 6 inches of beads. Then I'll take a measuring tape and I'll measure where I'm at, you know, with the bead length itself. Okay, so once I've reached that appropriate length, then I'm going to take my other head pin and I'm going to lay that across the top, and I'm going to do the weave like I've been doing, only with no beads, and incorporate this pin into the cords. Okay, so I'm here stopped at 3 on the top, so the first move is upper right to lower right, quarter turn, upper left to lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn, lower right to lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn, same thing, and I'm working this pin inside. So if you go around 3 times the whole rotation, that's enough. That's really enough, because they're like on the other end, it's going to get too leggy. You're going to have too much material and your cone won't fit, or your cap, your cone, whatever you have won't fit. So at this point, I'm going to take my pin is in here. It's in there well. I'm going to take 2 cords off here and 2 cords off here, just the opposite cords, and I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to tie a knot twice. So you're going to get length doing that too. All right, so I got those 2. And now I'm going to take the other 2 cords and do the same thing. Tie that in a tight knot. Okay, so at this point, I can cut off all my cords, being very careful not to cut into the knot. Okay, and then I probably shouldn't be using my wire cutters for that. Okay, so I got rid of all those extra strings. And I'm going to cut off that little head on the head pin here and just slide this over, and I'm going to wire wrap. I'm just kind of looping this over. I'm going to wire wrap that. I'm going to hold the loop with my round nose pliers, and I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and just wind around, wind the short wire around the long wire. A couple of times is enough. And I'm going to cut that off as flush as I can. And then I'm going to use the super glue on all this knot area that I just cut. Okay. So once that's dry, then I can go ahead and insert my bead cap. Okay. So what I like to do, I didn't do it on the sample one, but what I like to do is just for fun, just stick one extra seed bead, any color, on the top of that. And then make my wire wrapped loop here. Now I'm going to add a, just for today's demonstration, I'm just going to add the lobster claw on this side, okay? You would insert the magnet right here at this point if you were using the magnet. If you do use the magnet, just be aware that it's going to stick to your bead cap. You're going to have to futz around with it a little bit, but it's worth it because if you like magnets. Okay, so I'm going to just wire wrap this, and here, wrapping that wire up, close wraps as close as you can together, and wrap it about 3 times or until you reach the length of that bead that there's no space, and cut that off. And then I would do the same thing on this end, only you don't need any glue because that's already incorporated. The pin is already incorporated in the cords, but I would wire wrap this end, cut off the little head, wire wrap this end, about 2 or 3 times is enough. I'm just kind of doing a quick job, a little on the sloppy side. And then lift that hook up, put my other bead cap on, and on this side, because I've got a lobster claw, little tiny bracelet, little baby doll bracelet. At this side, because I've got the lobster clasp on the other side, I need to make a ring for the lobster clasp to attach to. So I'm just going to bend this over right at the top of the bead cap, make a wire loop, oh, I didn't put my bead on there, but that's okay because I'm not keeping this anyway. Unless it fit on a cat, maybe, but I don't think they'd want anything to do with it. Cut that excess off. Straighten up my loop a little bit, make it look a little nicer. And there you have the loop. So you can hook it. Look at what a baby little baby thing that is. But see right here, this side looks beautiful, but this is the side that I missed the bead when I was talking or futzing around or whatever. This is where I missed the bead right here. And there is no way in the world that you can correct that. It just doesn't happen. Okay, so the key is to take your time, pay attention. Don't let there be any interference in your time. If there is interference, put your stuff away. You know, set it on top of your vase or your can or whatever, and you know, come back to it when you can have some peace and quiet. And yeah, key fob, that's a good idea, but I'll probably take it apart because that's how I am. All right, so hopefully you got the gist of this technique. Like I said, it can be pretty fun. You can make them fairly quickly, and it's the mama and the baby. Oh, I'm losing it. Oh yeah, this kind of is sticking to my chair. Okay, great. So if you have any further questions, if something pops up or whatever, just put it on the group page, and I'll try to address it. And if you haven't signed up for a kit yet and you want to get one, please do that ASAP so that I can get kits made for those people who have already signed up for them, so they don't have to wait too long. Okay, guys. Yeah, I mean, if you have the supplies already, just redo this video and replay it and follow along, and don't make that mistake that I made. Remember, always, always, always put those 3 strings to the top. Even if you're just checking underneath to see the length, you know, of how it's progressing, put it there, because you saw what I did. I did not do that when I did something and I missed a bead. So you could totally avoid that and be happy. All right, I don't know what I'm going to do next week yet. I'm still trying to keep simple things going, but I've got a couple ideas, and I'll let you guys know on the weekend what it's going to be. So yeah, even if the house is on fire, Deb. I can laugh at that now, but at the time it wasn't so funny. Okay. All right. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.